Italy is just serving up big on bigs. We got some spicy matchups in Spain.
It's put up or shut up time in Germany, and we got to fight for the limelight in England. All this and more on this episode 39 of No Business Soccer Podcast.
Let's dig in. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Danny P, go ahead and cut that cool, groovy music you got going on right now. And welcome back to the No Business Soccer Podcast. I'm your host, Snooze, and we got a great show for you today. We got UEFA competitions back. We're looking at the look ahead for all of the leagues around Europe. And, of course, we got the full family with us. We have J-Fam back, the Brainiac. And we also got Danny P on the ones and twos, but you know, the guy who steals the show, my boy, Hype Man Vic. What you sipping on, dog?
Well, today I have a good old cocktail. It's a whiskey sour. And we're drinking this because I got some company right now. He's in there doing some work. My boy Chris, he'll get a little shout out here. And he wanted the longest cocktail to make I could possibly have. And, of course, it was a whiskey sour. But luckily, it's delicious. And almost done with it, too. So
I've had that one for me before. It is very delicious. Very good.
That's a cherry on the bottom. Before there are any comments, like we get any. But any comments about some shit on the bottom, it's a cherry. It's good.
Yes. And cherries in cocktails are manly, by the way, right?
That's right. Maraschino cherry.
Okay. Well, before we jump into the look ahead for this weekend around Europe, we had some competitions, the UEFA competitions that we got to cover. So let's jump right into the UEFA competition wrap up. First things first, let's take a look at the Europa League that just finished a couple hours ago as of this recording. We had the couple of matches that we talked about. We're not going to go through all of them, but we had Besiktas upsetting Athletic Club 4-1. We also had AZ Alkmaar upset Roma 1-0. We had Tottenham beating Hoffenheim. We got a win 3-2 on the road in that one too. What was the other one we talked about, Vic? It was we had Eintracht Frankfurt beat Ferencváros 2-0, and then of course Manchester United beat Rangers 2-1. That was pretty cool. This competition's coming back, and we have only one more match day left for the Champions League and the Europa League, and there's a lot at stake, and we'll break that down before match day 8 comes in I think a week's time. But that is it for Europa League. Now let's talk about the Champions League, which is the one that everybody's talking about. We had a couple of matches that we were going to talk about here on Tuesday, because there are really two that grabbed the headlines, Vic. And the first one we're talking about, the first one that everybody's talking about really, is Atletico Madrid's improbable comeback win against Leverkusen, where they were a man down early and a goal down early, and they actually only had 2 shots on target the entire game. And those were the 2 that they buried, and it was just insane. They actually beat Leverkusen. They had 11 straight wins coming into this one. It was just a collapse. It kind of proves that, Leverkusen, while they are one of the newer teams that is up and coming as far as like their strength in European competitions, they won the Bundesliga last year, got in the Champions League, lost in the final of the Europa League last year, I believe it was. So it's like, that's cool for them. But Atletico Madrid, they were on like 16 wins in a row, weren't they? Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And as he's drinking, my bad.
Sorry, you asked me as soon as I take a drink. Yeah. So it just proves like Atletico Madrid, they're there. If they're a team that's always in the European leagues, and so of course, whenever it comes down to it, they're gonna know how to get these wins, and they're just way tougher. Diego Simeone's got his boys playing right, and yeah, that was an awesome one to watch. The other one that you want to take a look at is 5-4 Barcelona comeback against Benfica. And this one has a lot of, if you are a Barcelona fan, obviously you're very happy. But if you're not a Barcelona fan, then you'll probably be talking about all the things that went wrong with the refs. Coming into this one, Barcelona has struggled to beat Benfica in the Champions League recently, and it definitely didn't look like they were about to beat them this time around. They looked like they were about to lose, honestly. It was 4-2 Benfica going into the 78th minute before Barca leveled it, and then a shout for a penalty on one end sprinting Rafinha and a comeback fifth goal with it was like 5 minutes of added time. I mean, there's only supposed to be 4 minutes of added time, and Rafinha scores in 5. Just insane. Just insane.
Yeah, even just the highlights. Like, if you just go watch the YouTube highlights of that match, it's insane. It had like 3 penalties, 2 goalie mishaps, red card. It had like everything.
Yeah, everything.
It was so awesome. Yeah, it's such a good match.
Barcelona are usually on the other end of these, right? The Liverpool comeback. I mean, there's so many times that you think that Barcelona are probably going to be the ones that get this done to them. PSG, another one that they actually were on the winning side of. But in this one specifically, it sucked because Benfica, they were coasting. And then Barcelona, of course, does what they do. And then on Wednesday, we had, did you have something else you were going to say on that one?
No, that was it. It was just, go watch. If you can, watch the entire game. It was such a good game. But if you can't,
it really was.
Look up the highlights. Everybody's saying that's been one of the best, if not the best, Champions League match that they've ever seen. So, and
Benfica and Barcelona, 2 classic clubs. A lot of fun to watch. The other matches that we had on Wednesday in the Champions League, the headline matches anyway. Bayern struggles continue in the Champions League. They fell against Feyenoord 3-0. Bayern, this is no joke. They had 30 shots in this one, and it ends up with no goals, while Feyenoord had 8 shots, and they scored 3 of them. That is quality over quantity, folks, and Bayern, they just continue to struggle. Not so much in the Bundesliga, but they do struggle in the Champions League. And then the other one that everybody's talking about from yesterday, PSG beat Man City 4-2 in Paris to get themselves virtually in the playoff rounds. It's so crazy. There's so many games, so many teams. But essentially what it comes down to is City, they went 2 goals up, and then they end up after halftime. It was 0-0, right? And they go 2 goals up after halftime really quick. But Ousmane Dembele came on, and he changed that game completely, flipped it on his head, if you will. He got the first goal, and then that stadium came back to life. And, they ended up winning 4-2 with a lot of the youngsters that PSG have. They were going after a bunch of the expensive best players. Now they're going after just some of these young guys, and they get this win and get themselves into the next round, while City play Club Brugge next week, and they have to get a win in order for them to move on, which, I mean, you would think it's City, Club Brugge, you wouldn't have a big, it's not an issue, I guess I should say. But Vic, they've been playing crazy.
Yeah.
That's good matches in the Champions League. A lot of fun. Anything else you want to call out? Oh yeah, go ahead. You want your limelight for Liverpool over Liverpool?
It's just, we're up here. You don't got to worry about us. We're winning. It's all good.
Yeah.
I will say it's not only good for the Reds, but what a weekend, or what a couple match days for red cards. 7 red cards for these Champions League matches the past couple of days. Crazy. Yeah.
They'd been on a break for so long. They're just
getting at it. Yeah.
Pent up anger. And then also, my Stuttgart, we got a 3-1 win over Slavan Bratislava. Just a lot of fun matches, and it's the final match week. Match week. I think it's match week. Next week, the final match week before we have the playoffs. It actually is called the playoffs. We were talking about that last time. I was like, am I being American right now? No, it is called the playoffs, though. Okay. That was what we had going on in the UEFA competitions. And now let's get to the look ahead for this weekend. And Vic, I think we should start in Italy. If you want to give us a reminder what that table looks like going in to match day 22 for Serie A.
Serie A. Not.
All right.
Hey,
I almost messed that up.
That's all right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, give us a reminder what that table looks like, sir.
Yeah. Let's see if we can pull it up. Do we got it? There we go. That's it. There we go. I'm a little farther away. I'm a little farther away from it than usual. But it's okay. There we go. Got a little bit better. See, our producers are amazing.
For our audio listeners, they're like, what is going on?
Yeah. Sorry, everybody just driving. Anyway, let me start for you guys. After match day 21, Napoli were on top. They're still on top. Going into match day 22, they have 50 points on a tear right now recently, and looking absolutely unstoppable. And the second spot is Inter Milan. They have 47 points. The third spot is Atalanta with 43 points, and then rounding out the top 4 with a little bit of a gap there, 4 points behind them The 4 points behind Atalanta with 39 points is Lazio. And tickling the top 4 is Juventus, just right behind them with 37 points in the 5th spot. And if the season ended today, Hellas Verona would be out of the league in the 18th spot. They have 19 points. Our poor old Venezia, even though we have to add their own badge to our tables, they would be out of the league as well with 15 points in the 19th spot. And Monza would definitely be out of the league. They only have 13 points and hold up the rest of the table in the 20th spot. That's what we got for the table there. Snooze.
Yeah, I like how it's definitely pretty tight in all those positions. But there's a lot of movement is what I'm trying to say after every match day. And we're getting to the back half of these seasons, so it's a lot of fun. I'm glad everything's turning out this way. But let's talk about some of the matches that we have in match day 22 in Serie A. On Friday, January 22nd, we have Cagliari. They've clawed their way out of the relegation scrap for now, but they get a mid-table Torino team that have drawn 4 straight times in Serie A. This is a big match for Cagliari, as 3 points could get them to mid-table after spending pretty much the entire season at the bottom. On Saturday, 125, Como, 25, that's not correct. Did I say the date wrong? Either way, on Saturday.
No, that's right. For Americans, it's like 125. Yeah, 25-1 for the rest of the world. Sorry.
Como, coming fresh off their 4-1 win over Udinese, get Atalanta, while Como added some exciting new attacking guys, also known as Dele Alli. Atalanta are coming for all 3 points after losing to Napoli last time out. You think it's a little too tough of a task for Como, even though they are being pushed and even though they got these new attacking threats. I think Atalanta is just way too strong right now. And then we also have Napoli continuing their tough stretch of matches as they take on Juventus in Naples. Juventus, as Victor says. Hype man Vic is crazy. And Napoli both won impressive games last weekend against Milan and Atalanta, respectively. This should be a good one. And Juve need to get all 3 points if they're to kind of continue to be real. I think Juventus has a great shot at doing this, but we'll talk more about this one in a sec. Empoli haven't won in 6 straight Serie A matches, and they get Bologna, who are trying to get into those European places. Bologna beat Monza in the league last weekend and had a comeback win against Dortmund in the Champions League, and they're getting hot, folks. They're getting very hot. We shall see if that continues in the league. Sunday, we have Milan looking to get back to winning ways after a disappointing result against Juve last time out, and they get a struggling Parma side who sits 16th in the table with only 1 win in the last 5 Serie A matches. Udinese no-showed against Como, and now they welcome the resurgent Roma to Stadio Friuli. How you say that? Roma have won 3 of their last 5 in Serie A, and I like their odds of getting 3 points and going home with 3 points here. The Milkmen take on Inter as they fight to stay out of the relegation zone, but Inter have won 7 of their last 8 Serie A matches and are trying to keep pace with Napoli at the top of the table. I feel like it's a little too much to ask for Lecce. Oh, it is a tough one to watch on the No Business Boys. For the No Business Boys, I guess I say, it is tough. Our Lazio take on Fiorentina, and I don't know who we're going for, but we'll talk a lot more about this one here in a second. But we talked about this one a few weeks ago, and hoping that both teams would just come into it with some form of form. That's a weird way to put that, but you know what I'm saying. Some form of form. But both teams have really struggled since then. Fiorentina need this one more, but we'll talk more about this one here in a moment. And then on Monday, we get 2 matches, actually. We get a massive relegation scrap, a 6-pointer, if you will, when our pet project Venezia take on Verona. It's 18th versus 19th, and a draw is pretty much useless. Both teams, they got to go for it. And then we get Genoa in 12th, taking on bottom of the table Monza. Obviously, Monza need all 3 points here, but Genoa had been decent before losing last time out to Roma. It'll be hard to see Monza getting anything from this one, but obviously with the 3 teams at the bottom playing on Monday, there's going to be a lot of movement, or I don't know if there'll be a lot of movement, but there's going to be a lot of watching to see what they need to be doing in those matches. And Vic, I think we're going to talk about a couple matches here. Napoli versus Juventus, as we say. Did you? We haven't confirmed that. Right?
I always, every time I hear it, I think of because I was into wrestling. It's Juventud Guerrera. Remember him? Juventud.
Somehow.
So I just try not to put like a D on that.
You're sneaky. Somehow. There's always wrestling. You bring it to. Well, on that note, Napoli versus Juventus, it's 1st versus 5th. It's big on big. It's 2 blue bloods in Italy, and it should be fun. It's been 6 matches since Napoli lost last. last loss in Serie A. And they lost to Lazio, and they've won all 6 matches since then with 14 goals for and 4 goals against, which is just insane for a Conte team, honestly. That's a pretty damn good way to bounce back, and one of those wins was against ATL last time out. Juve are still unbeaten in this league, in the league this year, and they're sitting in 5th. We talked about it on Monday, but if they just turn some of those draws into wins, they could be serious title contenders, and they can go for that Scudetto, which would be their first their first Scudetto in 5 years since they won 9 straight from 2011 to 2020. Don't forget this team; they haven't been that good lately, but they were the winners of 9 straight. And both teams are coming into this one on decent form, and I hope we see some fireworks because both clubs have stars. I can't wait to see this one, Vic. Who do you have in this one?
I'm gonna go with I gotta go with Juventus.
Okay.
Just because my boy, in case he's watching, Christian, he's going with me to watch WWE tomorrow. So gotta stay in his good graces. Maybe get a drink or 2 out of him. We'll see. But let's go.
Yeah, tell him. And then of course, our Lazio versus our Fiorentina. At one point, Vic, if you remember, Lazio had a 7-game winning streak in Serie A, and Fiorentina had an 8-game winning streak in Serie A. But things have drastically changed since that time. Lazio beat Verona last weekend, but now that's only 2 wins in their last 5 matches. And as mentioned, Fiorentina haven't won in 6 Serie A matches coming into this one. I was reading up on both squads, and it doesn't appear that there's a lot of injuries that's causing this dip in form. It's just the pendulum swings, man. The pendulum of the season swings. And regardless of the recent struggles, both teams are still in the top 6 and fighting to stay there. And they have a more than enough talent to stay there if they win. I'm just excited for this one. Hype Man's excited for this one. The No Business fam is excited for this one. Well, let's see what happens. Vic, I don't know who I call. I mean, I think maybe Lazio, but I don't know.
I don't know. This is one of those house divided games.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to go Fiorentina on this one. I think it means a little bit more to them. They're right on the edge of those European spots in the 6th spot. It should hopefully get them a little bit closer to those. Also, Bologna is also has 33 points, tied with Fiorentina, so they got to have some sort of separation. And also, my mom's favorite color is purple, so we're going to go with Fiorentina.
Hey, you know what? That's a good reason, honestly. Yeah. That's a good reason. Okay, those are the matches we're watching in Italy this weekend in the Serie A. And Vic, I think we need to go straight to Spain. What do you think?
Let's do it. To La Liga.
Before jumping into the match, tell us what that table looked like.
Yeah, well, once again, in La Liga, the Madrids are on top. The real one is on the number 1 spot. They have 46 points. There we go. It's up there. They have 46 points again in the number 1 spot on a 3-game win streak. Atletico Madrid could have the number 1 spot, but they had just lost. They have 44 points in second place. There's a 5-point gap between Atletico Madrid and our 3rd place Barcelona with 39 points. Barcelona have not gotten a win in the last 4 matches. Hopefully they can turn that around and get going there. For some of y'all don't want them to get turned around. So tied with them as well as Atletico Bilbao. They are in the 4th spot with 39 points as well, and they've been looking very good. They have not lost at least in their last 6, as you can see on the table there, and hoping to keep form and climb in those spots. Tickling our top 4, from afar, tickling our top 4 is Villarreal with 33 points. There's a 6-point gap between 4th and 5th place, which Villarreal are in. And if we look at the bottom of the table, if the season ended today, Espanyol would be the first winner to be relegated. I think that's how it goes. They did just get a win. They have 19
Congratulations,
points.
You won relegation.
Yes, you're the first team. They're in the 18th spot with 19 points. Valencia is right behind them. They have 16 points in the 19th spot. And oh my God, I said it earlier, or I said it last time. Holy guacamole, my Voli Dolies are in last spot. Valladolid. They were the only team in the bottom 3 to get a loss, and it's cost them. So they are holding up the rest of the table in the 20th spot. But let's see what we're looking forward to for this weekend with my boy Snooze. What we got, man?
Yeah, we got a lot of decent matchups, but not a ton that, I would say would be tilting that excitement scale. But let's talk about it. On Friday, we get Las Palmas, who've lost their way a bit recently with 2 straight losses. And they are up against Osasuna, who are a side who haven't won in 8 La Liga matches. And something's got to give here. I think Osasuna, they're definitely the stronger team.
but you never know how this is going to work out. On Saturday, we get Mallorca, who laid an egg in their last match against Villarreal, but they are still occupying one of the European places, and they got a home date with Betis, who have lost 2 straight. Will their new boy Anthony shake things up? I don't know, but I keep seeing all the memes where it's like Anthony's going to take over La Liga. I don't know why people hate on this guy so much, but he did get signed by Betis, so maybe he'll show up. We'll find out. And then we get a juicy one between Atletico Madrid and Villarreal in Madrid. We'll talk more about that one here in a sec. We also get Sevilla continuing to climb up the table as they take on relegation-threatened Espanyol. Espanyol got all 3 points last time against Vic's Volidoli, unfortunately. But Sevilla will be a much tougher task this time. Let's find out. And it's top versus bottom when Real Madrid travel to Valladolid. Anything other than 3 points for Real Madrid would be a shock. But hey, weirder things have happened this season. Let's just say that.
Just be easy on us.
Yes. And on Sunday, it's 9th versus 8th when Girona travel to Madrid to take on Rayo Vallecano. Wins have been hard to come by for both teams, but a win on either side could really close the gap for those European places as these teams try to push up that table. Real Sociedad play a heavily rotated side last time out against Valencia, and they got beat for their troubles. This time they get relegation-threatened Getafe at Estadio Anoeta, and I don't think that they'll be rotating anymore. Athletic Club take on the mighty Leganés at San Mamés. Leganés have recently beat Atleti and Barcelona, but they couldn't add Bilbao to that scalp collection, could they? No way they could. Maybe they can. We'll find out. Barcelona get a home date against Valencia. Valencia desperately need results if they're going to survive this season and stay in the Spanish top flight. And Barcelona surely can't afford to drop any more points if they're going to catch Madrid at the top of the table. Both these sides have a lot of reason to play. And on Monday, 13th in the table, Celta Vigo travel to Alava to take on Alaves in 17th place. Celta have lost 3 of their last 5 La Liga matches, but Alaves have only won twice in their last 9 games. Not sure which way it goes here, but you would really just expect any kind of result to be more important for Alaves at this point. So go Alaves, I guess. And the match we're talking about, Vic, the match we're watching this weekend, Atletico Madrid versus Villarreal. And let me tell you a little bit about it, and I'm going to ask you who you think is going to win, okay? That was like a...
Right now,
you heard.
Oh,
no,
okay.
I'm saying I'm gonna talk about. But you heard. I don't know. I was trying to be cool. That didn't work, obviously. Villarreal proved that they're a threat in their 4-0 domination over Mallorca, and we talked about that one going in because Mallorca have been one of the surprise teams in La Liga this season. And even though Villarreal are mainstays in the top 6, they had struggled a bit of late. But they proved that they are still real and still dangerous. And they are getting Ayoze Perez, Nicolas Pepe, and Diego Conde back to full fitness. They should be poised to have a run of positive results. With all that said, though, even though Atleti lost to Leganés last weekend, they showed an incredible amount of heart and grit in the Champions League this Tuesday as they came back from a goal down and a man down early against German powerhouse Bayer Leverkusen. Had they not slipped up last weekend, they would be on an unbelievable run, and that kind of honestly... they lost twice in their last 18 matches in all competitions, so they're still amazing. I'm excited for this one. I think Atletico Madrid will probably get it done, but Vic, what do you think?
I'm going to go Atletico Madrid as well, only because I got some merch from there, and I'd feel a little bit bad as well because I got them. They're kind of my team as well. Okay. Atletico Madrid, and I just a little note that we were looking at graphics for this, and I was like, "Are you sure you only have one game to talk about La Liga?" But this is like one of the 2 top 5 teams, right? And the top 4 is separated by 7 points. The 7th and 17th place is separated by 8. So that's how it is in the middle. So there's some exciting ones in the middle, but they don't really go into those European spots. They don't get relegated. It's kind of hard to talk about those when there aren't as many stakes as maybe, Atletico Madrid getting a win, Real Madrid kind of slipping and going into the first. So really looking forward to this one. Maybe only this one, but we will see whenever we'll see if they can prove us wrong and show some just show out this week and make some great games.
Yeah, there's always players to watch and storylines in every match. But the ones that we're watching because of the stakes, as Hype Man, as Vic just said. So, yeah, whenever we're talking about these matches, it's not necessarily that none of the other matches are worth watching. It's just like, hey, you got to watch this one for these reasons.
Yeah.
And it's not always the top teams. We talked about some relegation scraps in Italy last weekend. That were really fun. And then also we watched Valladolid last weekend. So, but yeah, good call out there. And I think because that was the only match of high stakes, we were ready to move on to the next league. And I think it's time to go to Germany.
Let's do it. To Bundesliga.
Boom!
I nailed that Bundesliga. That was good.
You did. Hey,
I nailed it.
I just for everyone out there, that this is like Hyben Vic's favorite thing to say. Off camera, he just says Bundesliga like all the time for no reason.
That is pretty true. Yeah,
we have some. We probably have some, not footage, but sound bites that we can play for you.
You got some sound bites.
Yeah, I'm sure. Okay. Anyway, give us a refresher of the table, Vic.
Yeah. Well, the top of the table looks very familiar because Bayern Munich are on top. They have 45 points and are 4 points clear of the second team. Never losing Leverkusen are in the second spot with 41 points, at least on a 6-game win streak, as you can see on the table there. Winners of 3 straight are in the third spot with Eintracht Frankfurt, one of my favorite teams to say, although there's a 5-point gap between Bayer Leverkusen and Eintracht Frankfurt. They have 36 points, fighting to get to those top 2 spots, maybe even win the league. We'll see what happens. And in the 4th spot, rounding out our top 4, is Stuttgart. They are winners of 3 straight with 32 points and, just trying to fight off RB Leipzig, who are in the 5th spot with 31 points. RB Leipzig are tickling the top 4, trying to get into those Champions League spots. But if we look at the bottom of the table, teams that would be out of the league if the season ended today would be Holstein Kiel. They have 11 points and just barely beating out my boy, oh boy, Bochum, who have looked, I'm going to call them in form compared to what they were all season.
Yeah, in form for them, for sure.
Yeah, in form from them. In their last 5 matches, they have 8 points. They have 10 points all season. So I would say they're pretty much in form, but they still are in bottom because they've been so bad. Yeah, they've been bad. So bad all year. But boy, oh boy, Bochum are in the 18th spot, holding up the rest of the table. And we got some exciting matches this week. Snooze, let's talk about them a little bit.
Yes, sir. We have Friday, Wolfsburg looking to bounce back from their loss to Bayern last time out as they get a second from bottom, Holstein Kiel. And they're still fighting for their Bundesliga lives, but Wolfsburg are only a point off of Mainz for those coveted European places. So both teams have a lot to play for there. On Saturday, speaking of Mainz, they get my Stuttgart at home this weekend, and we'll talk about them more in a sec. And then we also get Leverkusen going on the road to take on Leipzig, and we'll dig into that one as well. We also get mid-table Augsburg versus relegation-threatened Heidenheim, Double H, as I call them. And it still sucks saying that they're relegation threatened after the amazing season they had last year. But facts are facts. They're not doing good right now. And Augsburg beat Werder last time out and are now on a 2-game winning streak. And they look pretty good in that one. Freiburg get a home date with the league leaders Bayern. And Bayern seem to be hitting their stride, while Freiburg, for all the promise the early season had, have now lost 3 of their last 5 Bundesliga matches. It's hard to see them taking any points off of Bayern at this moment. And a mid-table clash between Dortmund and Werder goes down in Dortmund as they try to find a way forward without Nuri Sahin. If you haven't heard, he was sacked earlier this week. And it's a tough test for the interim manager, Mike Tulberg, as he takes on Werder, who, yes, they lost last time, but they've been pretty good this season. Mid-table Gladbach get bottom of the table Bochum at home. Bochum have actually been on a decent run of form, as Vic said earlier, and only losing once in the last 5 matches, while Gladbach have now lost 3 straight. It's a great time to get Gladbach if you're Bochum. This one would be pretty interesting to see how Bochum's doing. On Sunday, we get Hoffenheim in 15th, taking on Eintracht Frankfurt in 3rd. Seems pretty straightforward for a Frankfurt side who have won 3 straight in the Bundesliga. But Hoffenheim are coming off a win of their own after beating Kiel last time out. They did lose to Spurs in the Europa League, though. Then we have 2 teams fighting to keep themselves out of the relegation scrap, with 13th Union Berlin taking on 14th St. Pauli. Both teams are actually doing pretty horrible with before their wins last match day. So they won last match day, but they were really bad before that. And we'll see if anybody can take home 3 points there. In the matches we're watching this weekend, Vic, I know you'll be watching this one specifically because it's our Stuttgart. I'm trying to get you guys on board, but my Stuttgart versus Mainz. Stuttgart are in great form as they have 3 straight wins in the Bundesliga, and they just won in the Champions League as well against Slovakian side Slavan Bratislava. In fact, in the 9 games in all comps since December, Stuttgart have won 8 and lost once, with 24 goals for and only 7 goals against. Now, there's a lot of factors here, but mostly the team is just kicked on. I mean, that's awesome. 24 goals for, 7 goals against. What I will say, though, is that Enzo, Voltemada, Stiller, Mittelstadt, those are some German names, have all started to get going. And now Undav is healthy and has 2 goals and an assist in the last 3 matches. Mainz, on the other hand, though, for all the praise we had just given them a couple weeks ago, and they were I was debating on giving them the coveted flowers, Vic. I mean, we were really close to that.
It seems like you did if they've fallen out of form.
I did.
Pretty much
but they've now lost back-to-back games against Leverkusen and Union Berlin. They're still just sitting pretty in the table, but they got to recapture that magic they had just a couple weeks ago. And getting a result against the informed Stuttgart would go a long way to getting them back in our good graces. I know that's what everybody's worried about here. And I think this one's going to be fun to watch. And the fact that Mainz get this one at home goes a long way. Of course, I'm going Stuttgart, Vic. Of course, you're going Stuttgart too, right? No need to ask.
Yeah, the ones that came down to Austin, kind of hung out with us.
That's right.
Hey, them around town.
Oh crap! I flexed on my own mic. Get out of here.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay, and the next one, hopefully it's straight. Danny P is going to be all over my ass. Stop messing with your stuff. My bad. Leipzig versus Leverkusen. Leverkusen had won 11 straight matches in all competitions before their collapse in Madrid on Tuesday, and they are still on an 8-game winning streak in the Bundesliga, but Atletico Madrid match did take some wind out of their sails. But I don't think there are too many teams that are as strong as Atleti in the Bundesliga. And there's not really anybody that can test them outside of Bayern and maybe Stuttgart, in my opinion. And I don't think that Leipzig are one of the teams that can test them, really. It feels like every time we think Leipzig are ready to take that step, they slip up. And they just lost to Stuttgart and Bayern recently. And last time out, they had a collapse of their own, giving away a 3-goal lead to the bottom of the table, Bochum. They should have Sesko and Opinda back for this match, but nothing they've done recently tells me that they'll be able to get Leverkusen a game. But damn, they have a lot of talent on their side. So there's no reason why you shouldn't watch this game, because if anything, you will be entertained. I can promise you that, as I was saying a bit earlier. Okay, Vic, I'm assuming that you're not a big Leipzig fan. Oh, wait. I don't know. Did they play? I can't remember. No, it was Leverkusen that played Liverpool. It was Leverkusen.
Yeah, we beat Leverkusen.
I mean, you didn't have to
we were on the only team. We were only one of the only teams that did so at that in that stretch.
That's true.
Nice.
That's true.
Yeah,
I think they all were their last loss, something like that.
so yeah,
who are you picking here?
I'm gonna go. Let's go Leipzig. Right, we have the New York Red Bulls, the Red Bulls Leipzig, even though they don't like to be called that. We're gonna go Leipzig.
Okay. Hey, fair enough. They have a lot of talent on there. It's going to be a fun game regardless. So
yeah, it's going to be good.
If you're tuning into some Bundesliga, make sure you're watching that one for sure. Okay, that is it for the Bundesliga. And now it's time to go to the I was always going to say it again. I don't need to say that anymore. We're going to England, Nick.
Yeah, we're going to the creme de la creme. We're going to the Prem. I know but we'll see. If you absolutely hated that, let me know down in the comments below.
Who could hate that? Who could ever hate that? Okay, well, before we jump into these matches, Vic, give us a reminder of what the table looks like after match day 22.
It would be my honor. Liverpool are on top. They finally got a win after being cursed by Snooze over there, where we're getting their flowers. They had 2 draws and now got a win. They have 50 points and also a game in hand, which we found out will be played on February 12th. Me and Daniel are going to have the day off and or Danny P. Sorry, breaking kayfabe there. Me and Danny P. are going to take the day off and go watch that game. Liverpool-Everton makeup game. Anyway. Not a Liverpool podcast. We're going on to the second spot.
Can I go too?
Oh, we'll let you know. We'll let you know. Just kidding. In the second spot is Arsenal. They have 44 points. They are also tied with Nottingham Forest with 44 points as well. Nottingham Forest are in the third spot. And number 4 is rounding out the top for Chelsea, they have 40 points, 4 points behind them. Liverpool's starting to run away with this, but it's getting a fight for being. Let me start over. My God, becoming a fight to get into those Champions League spots, because right out the top 4 is Manchester City, who have been looking way better than they have. They have 38 points, and they are trying to get back into the Champions League in the 5th spot. But taking a look at the bottom of the table, whole bunch of red you see there. Ipswich Town are in the 18th spot, would be leaving the league if the season ended today. They have 16 points. Right below them is Leicester City with 14 points on at least a 6-game losing streak. That's what the table shows. They have 14 points. Did I say 16? I don't remember. They're in the 19th spot. Leicester City also gone. And really, really gone, Southampton. They might not even make it to the championship if they get relegated. They might go a league below.
Straight down twice.
Yeah, straight down 2 leagues. They have 6 points, still fighting to get anything going for them, but it's not looking good. There are also some pretty good matches coming on throughout this week, and let's talk about them a little bit, Snooze.
Yes, sir. We have Saturday. Brighton welcome Everton to town as both teams come in with good vibes, unfortunately, for Everton. Brighton have won back-to-back matches for the first time since October, and Everton won their first match in 7 Premier League matches. Who keeps the good vibes rolling? I think I don't want to say we're all going for Everton, but Danny P's our boy. Like, it's cool. Top of the table, Liverpool take on 18th Ipswich Town. Seems pretty straightforward, and that's probably what Liverpool fans are needing at this point, having been on the edge of their seats the last few matches. A good little soft toss-up should be fun. Bottom of the table, Southampton get Newcastle at home. Newcastle imploded against Bournemouth last time out, and a date with Southampton should be just what the doctor ordered, or as I have it here, should be what they need to get the ship righted. And make sure they don't take on too much water after that. I mean, I don't know what you want to call it. Collapse, implosion. Like, there's so many words you could use last time out. Let's talk about Wolves. They've now lost 3 straight matches, and that's music to Arsenal's ears as they travel to Wolverhampton this Saturday. This one could get really ugly as Arsenal looking to take out some of their frustrations from that draw with Villa. My pick for sleeper match of the weekend has got to be Bournemouth versus Forest. We'll talk about that more in a sec. And then it's also big on big English style as Manchester City take on Chelsea. We'll dig into that one more in a second. On Sunday, we have a relegation scrap on our hands as Leicester travel to Tottenham. Spurs have lost 3 straight and without a win within 6 matches in the Prem. And honestly, Vic, there's no way that Spurs lose or draw this game or Ange has to be gone. Like, there's no way. You can't. It's Leicester's horrible right now. Anyway, sorry, I lost my composure there. Crystal Palace take on Brentford at Selhurst Park. Palace have won 3 of their last 5 and 2 straight, while Brentford will look to rebound after giving up 2 late goals to Liverpool last time out and going home with nothing. Oh, that's got to sting. And Aston Villa go head-to-head with West Ham as they try to build on the momentum from their dramatic draw with Arsenal last weekend, while Graham Potter's boys need to bounce back after losing to Palace last weekend. We're just saying. Mid-table Fulham welcome 13th Manchester United to Craven Cottage. Both teams have had questionable runs of form of late, but United seems to be falling apart with their new boss Amorim in the press earlier this week, saying that this might be the worst Manchester United team of all time. And whenever your coach is saying that, that's not a good thing. Okay, so yeah, hug your fans or hug your friends that are fans of Manchester United and Spurs. Okay, well, let's talk about some of the matches we're watching, Vic. We have City versus Chelsea up first. Chelsea's win against Wolves last weekend was their first win in the Prem in 6 matches. But prior to that, they had been right on Liverpool's heels in the title race. I think the jury is still out on just how good this team is or really what this team is this year. But they've definitely got a squad to get results. City, on the other hand, they're kind of dealing with all sorts of injuries and fallout at the moment. And even though they're no longer in a free fall that they were in a few weeks ago, they're still recovering and they're still looking for form. They collapsed this week against PSG in the Champions League. But it's also, I think it could be a big deal that Kyle Walker is going to Milan. He was their captain. And they're going to need to find a senior voice on that pitch to be the leader. This one is pretty exciting for all the question marks that come for both of these teams. I don't like Chelsea's odds in this one, maybe just because I feel like City are starting to hit their stride in the Prem. But Vic, am I off base here? What do you think?
I don't know. This is a lose-lose for me. But winner of this match is in the Champions League spots, unless they draw and it just stays the same. Chelsea stay there. But for me, I don't know, man. It's got to be hard to see Manchester City get back into a Champions League spot after the free fall that they had, like you said, and how good that felt. So I think I'm going to go Chelsea. And
how good that felt.
Yeah, it felt. It's like you know how. In the NFL, people that watch the NFL, you see how bad the Patriots are now. It feels good, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Good,
Okay.
right? Yeah,
fair enough.
Good. Yeah,
fair enough. Okay, well, okay, so you're going Chelsea for that reason. I think that Chelsea's. I just don't know what to think of them yet because they've had an up and down season, roller coaster, if you will, yo-yo, if you will, whatever you want to call it. There's no continuity with how that squad continues to play, and so. Obviously, they were on a run of form where they were winning a bunch of games and they were kind of pushing y'all for the title race earlier. But then it's just the slip up, 6 matches in a row without a win, I think I said. And yeah, it's hard to say what they'll be. Now, don't get me wrong, City had a way longer losing streak, or at least a dropping point streak, we should say. But yeah, I just think they have enough to get it done. Okay, let's talk about the last match of the weekend that we are watching in the Prem. Bournemouth versus Nottingham Forest. Both teams have been the surprise teams of the Premier League this season so far. And in fact, if I were Bournemouth, I would feel like Forest are kind of still in my limelight with that incredible run that they're on because they are coming into this match with the Trees 3rd in the table and the Cherries the 7th in the table. And last season ended, but Forest were 17th in the table and Bournemouth were 12th. So this is incredible. I mean, especially Forest, 17th to 3rd. Obviously, a lot of football left to be played, but still, the fact that they're that high up past the halfway mark is incredible. We're sneaking up on the back end of the season, actually, and this is just the turnaround for both teams is crazy. Justin Kluivert had 7 Premier League goals last season, and he's already surpassed that with 10 this season. And Chris Wood for Forest on the other side, he had 14 goals in the Premier League last season, and he just hit his 14th last week. So he's already made that, and we're not even, we are halfway through now. I keep saying we're not through. We are definitely halfway through the season, but he's already surpassed, or he's already at that point. And if Bournemouth continue to get results, they'll be sitting pretty. And if they get some of their injured stars back, they'll be sitting even prettier, I guess we could say. Because on the shelf for the Cherries, we got Ines Unal, Evan Nielsen, Adam Smith, Araujo, and more. And that team, they're doing really well with all the injuries. And I just want to see them put a good game against one of the top teams. We got to say that about Forest right now. It's weird to say it. I just think it's going to be a fun one to watch. Maybe not a banger, Vic, but very interesting to see how it plays out. What do you think?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a fun match. I myself am going to be selfish and pick Nottingham Forest. I want Forest to finish second. I want our only loss, Liverpool's only loss, to be against the second place team. I don't know if you checked it out, but on the table last time, you could see we have the most goals for, the least goals against, biggest goal differential, obviously, most wins. And so I want that one little loss, to be the team right underneath us. So I'm going for Nottingham Forest the rest of the season. And hopefully they end up number 2, and it'll start with beating Bournemouth.
That'd be crazy. 17th last season, barely staying in the league to second. That would be insane.
Yeah,
they'd be in the Champions League. That's crazy. Crazy.
That's a good story. What a freaking good story. Jeez.
I mean, how crazy would it be if they won the league? You know what I mean? Like, how crazy would
it be that?
I'm just kidding. All right. Well, that is it for our look ahead this weekend. I'm looking forward to a lot of things. And obviously, I'm a new dad. I got to go get some baby, clean some booty and get her in the bath. We got to get this going. So, Vic, take us home.
All right. Appreciate it for spending your time with us today. Let us know down in the comments what you're looking forward to the most for this weekend. We'd love to chat with you guys about it and, talk to you guys in the comments and interact with you guys. Follow us on all of our socials. Everything is at No Business Soccer Podcast, except for Twitter and also TikTok. Still staying around for now. That is at No Biz Soc Pod. And we will talk to you soon. Enjoy the weekend and enjoy the football, everyone.
Peace.